Hi, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to be a speaker at today's International Youth Summit, and also best wishes in advance to all of my dear youths. I am Sarker Tanvir Ahmed. I'm a youth leader and a youth activist from Bangladesh, and also founder and president of Youth Parliament. And the global indicators are very important to building a sustainable society and in the overall development of our nation. So the participation of the youth is creating an opportunity to play a role in the sustainable development goal to improve this complex task actually. So now I am presenting my PowerPoint presentation to all of you. Okay, guys, my today's topic is youth for sustainable development goal. Uh, at first, we want to know UN and Sustainable Development Goal SDGs. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are an unimaginable milestone, and SDG is a global approach to make the Millennium Development Goals more sustainable and realistic. Also. And 193 countries are partners in the plan, whose mainly the motive is just not to leave anyone behind. This is the main motto: no one will be left behind. All the countries are very sincerely in implementing 17 goals by 2030. So sustainable development is to balance the work and needs of present with the future in mind. So where everyone is trying to get of issues like environmental pollution, social inequalities, poverty, quality full education, and so and likely the others parameters. And it's time for change that by looking at the world in different way. And I think the sustainable development goal will help us to do that immediately and quickly. Now the concept of a tennis ball can be taken as an example if we explain sustainable development goal more easily. So if the pressure is applied to a tennis ball, the height will be rise with the force with which the tennis ball has been thrown. In other words, under normal circumstances, opportunities for natural resources and alternative usable materials are created. So on the other hand, if higher force is applied than before, the tennis ball will reach a higher position. In the words, there will be more improvement from the previous situation where the opportunity will be put to work. And this is the sustainable development. Now, HDGs at a glance, and I mentioned the 5P method actually. Although there are 17 specific goals in the Sustainable Development Goals, HDGs can be easily identified in certain areas. And the 5P is such a thing, and this includes people, planet, prosperity, partnership, and peace. In 5P, all the all of the components are directly connected to each other. So we can compare it to a star. In other words, if these 5 names can be divided into a certain elements, then we can see that it is possible to cover sustainable development goal. While these goals are difficult to achieve without global partnership, but there is nothing to despair about. So as much in my opinion, sustainable development goal is being covered in 4 steps. And the steps are society and people, natural resources and environment, basic needs, economic growth, and also prosperities. So a total of 17 targets or goals are being made, including 5 goals in the people and society, 4 goals in the natural and environmental sector, 5 goals in the fundamental rights or basic rights of human being, and 3 goals in the economic growth. From these, we get a broad idea of how the benefits of sustainable development are being distributed. Now, the most important question is that, is just the responsibility of the state, or will the people just keep trying from their place? In the global mandate of the United Nations, people from all over the world have been made partners. It focuses on equalization and bring everyone under one umbrella. So through this, sustainable development has become not just a declaration, but a social responsibility to us actually. And our youth can play the biggest role or highest role. So our responsibilities and duties as a youth should be much that our work will play a role for the rest of the rural people. I believe that the youth of all, I believe that the youth of all the countries of the world are actively ready to give their full support within 2030, the SDGs mandate. Now, there are some questions where the youth are, why their role is important and why important is the activism of youth in the sustainable development goal. And United Nations defines the youth, those persons between the ages of 15 to 24. And this period of transition from childhood to adulthood, the United Nations mention them as a youth. So youth are not a homogeneous group, but a truly diverse group of individuals. So globally, we are part of the largest generation of youth in human history, in the world history also, and the Asia Pacific region in particularly is home of is home to about 60% of the global population, age 15 to 24 years. The diversity of youth is especially true for the Asia Pacific region, and being a geographical, political, social, cultural, and economical expensive region also. So the world, the whole world is currently in demographic dividend. The rate of youth is now much higher than before. So as a result, we can say that the youth are powerhouse because their number and age are less than that of the senior citizens if we compare between them. So if we think or if we set an example on by the perspectives of Bangladesh, we can see that the number of school going students in our country is much higher than the total population of 34 countries in the world. So as a result, today's youth have become a source of wealth, source of resources rather than burden. So if this huge number can be presented sustainably, it will be the modern youth revolution whose goal is to use resources to save for the future. So the participation of the youth is very important. If we think about the time, it is possible to achieve the goal in a very short time through the work of the youth. To give an example, senior citizens are facing obstacle to collect 5 bags, minimum 5 bags of blood if needed. But young people can do it in a short time by using their communication skill and different communities. They can create a dynamic force of political change and social transformation when they are included in decision and policy making process, not only nationally, but also globally. They are the challenging factors of youth. The challenging factors are the extreme poverty, quality education, risky of healthy life, mental health issues, human trafficking, unemployment, political process or representations in the political process like that. Those goals are the main factors of youth. They are affecting directly. Now, key area of work, actually. I said before, at the beginning, I said that the sustainable development goal have been able to awaken in us a sense of responsibility. So there are the 5 key areas to work if youth want to give more time to ensure that the based dedication to 2030 global mandate. The goals are social, the key areas of work is social economic sector, environmental sector, facilitation and cooperation or global partnership, disaster action, disaster management, and also strong regional connectivity. Firstly, through them, through team discussion, they will be able to present their problems and possibilities and add democratic values. So training and skill is another factor for expressing oneself in new ways. Since there are many obstacles, the youth have to get education so they can take part in learning by making proper use of online media. So without the idea of expansion and knowledge, the impact of work is in one's own community at no value. So education is must be needed. So the job of the youth is to do advocacy after social problems are identified in their team, and the grassroots people cannot or will not directly connect it with the government sometimes, but the but educated and skilled youth can represent the grassroots people in their unspoken words, so it will bring the social change by youth advocacy. Then another, the leadership is needed. Any work can be done smoothly through leadership, but the practice of leadership must bear in mind the standing of social justice, peace, strong educational institution also. Neither a leader nor we need acceptable leadership. Not only leadership, we need acceptable youth leadership for the globe. In this way, we can see that many will be able to lead their own country in future. And the last step is to manage the activities and take part, and and uh, this is the responsibility model of sustainable development goal, where I identify the 6 parameters, and they are the team discussion, training, uh, education, community mapping and advocacy, youth leadership, and join and create an action for promoting the sustainable development goal. So the last step is to manage the activities and take part. That means trying to overcome the problem that is being identified by the team, by their own social initiatives and activities, and maybe making awareness video, organizing some of many competitions, campaigning for the food rights and etc. For example, I'm ensuring the youth leadership opportunities to practice parliamentary democracy through the Youth Parliament Assembly, and also by setting up the model such summit in a regional perspectives. I am providing opportunities for leadership among the youth of South Asia. So it is an example of our dynamical leadership aspects actually. So basically this was the explanation of the participation of the youth in the SDGs. Lastly, my request to all the youth is to love your country, do as much good as possible for the society, and my last advice to all of you, please learn today and lead tomorrow. Thank you very much for being with me.